you about how are you affected. I would be really amiss if I wouldn't mention some of the things that are going on in today's society and how they affect us. And when you talk about how you're affected, we need to start very, very small. Because when you build a house, right, you start with the foundation and then you build the walls. It'd be kind of hard to put the roof on before you got the walls up, right? So we're going to start really basic. And I'm going to talk to you about vibration. Because everything is vibration. Everything is energy. Everything in this world is in a state of vibration, which means it's moving. Right? Okay. There are atoms that contain protons, neutrons, and electrons, and all of these contain a magnetic attraction or electromagnetic attraction. Now, I'm not going to get real technical with you because who wants to hear all that stuff? But I am going to tell you that everything vibrates at a different rate. That's why some things look solid. And some things like the air and the light and the sound waves, you can't see them. But everything is vibration, which means that you are completely vibrating. Now, how many of you have ever sat in a car and felt the vibration? Or you've sat in one of those, what are those massage chairs where you feel that you can turn it on, vibration, and you can turn it up and you can turn it down, right? Sometimes the vibration's too much, and then sometimes you have to turn it down, or sometimes it's not enough. When we talk about vibration, inside of you, you have multiple parts of you that are vibrating. You have the inner aspect of you, which is the spiritual aspect, which is your soul. That's vibrating at a rate. And then what happens is it's encased in that, what, our transport vehicle here, our physical body, right? But the inner part, that soul, that intermediate principle of you, is always vibrating. And when you enclose it in a human form, it is subject to vibrations from outside. For your thoughts and emotions affect that vibration. I know many of you can attest when you go into a place and you're like, oh, I'm going to use this church. It's such a loving vibration. You feel like you're part of a family. How wonderful that is, that the souls and the energy in this church have created that vibration. And I'm going to use the word created because you have been in places that you do not feel that, correct? And you have been exposed to vibrations that make you uncomfortable. We have to, because we're vibrating at one rate inside. And the outside of us feels the vibration of everything else going around us. And if you don't think it affects you, think again. Because what you do is you take that energy, you take that vibration, and you allow it into your inner vibration. When you start to interpret, and you start to put emotion, and you start to buy in to that external vibration, your vibration changes. Everything that's going on in the world today is changing the vibration of every single person. And if you think, doesn't bother me, it happened over in California. Doesn't bother me, I'm good in my own little world. That vibration is shifting everybody's energy. everybody's energetic output in this world. Having said that, it's a little depressing, isn't it? To think, wow, am I so touched by everything that's going on? Yes and no. Because when you interpret a vibration, when you interpret energy, and you allow it in, you can dissipate that energy. I have a real good friend who talks about transmutation and taking negative energy in and transmuting it to something that is positive so that it can be returned on a different vibration. How many of you have ever listened to a song on the radio and you thought, oh, that takes me back. I can remember when I was in high school or grade school. I know for us that's not very long ago, but and it takes you right back. And you can remember what you were doing, who you were with, the thoughts and feelings you had. How many of you remember any of that? Yeah, of course you do. You're tuning into that vibration. And how powerful is that vibration for it to take you emotionally and mentally back to where you were at that time? Think about that for a minute. That's pretty amazing, right? I mean, you're traveling all the way back, 5, 10, 15, 20, however, I'm not even going to go back any farther, but all that time. And a lot of the time you can feel that same emotion. And how many of you, when you're in like a down or depressed mood and you're like, oh, I just don't feel good, and then a song comes on. And you're like, oh, yes, I love this song. You're just moving around. You've shifted and changed your vibration, your energy. You've changed it. Like that. That was weird. Did you see that light click when I did that? It's pretty cool. But you can do it in the blink of an eye. You can do it for good, and you can do it for not so good. Right? Because here, on the earth plane, we have free will, free choice. And sometimes when people don't understand how powerful you are, they just tend to go through life and just be like, oh, whatever happens, it's okay, whatever happens. It's just like when you meditate. Spirit is there. When you ask for help, and you ask for the highest and the best, that has to come through. That's what you're asking for. And when you meditate and you raise your vibration, because meditation raises your vibration, it gets you out of this and into this, right? You've heard going within, centering and concentration. Those of you who are taking the Morris Pratt course will know those definitions, or should know those definitions. When you tune all of this out and you go within, and you center, and you understand that the core aspect of who you are is pure spirit. Nothing more, nothing less. And that is evidenced by the fact that when you leave this physical body, you still go on. That's not it. This is not it. We are not it. We can be affected by it and its and experiences and things that go on. And how you view things, because everybody in here views everything differently. I'm going to guess 20 people, 25 people. And you all view things differently. Because you can witness an experience, and each one of you will have a different interpretation of that experience, will you not? Of course you will. And how does that happen? It's an experience. Or if you witness something, it is what it is, right? How can each one of you have a different interpretation of what went on? Because of your upbringing, because of the things that you have done in your life. And you have interpreted those and taken that vibration to mean X, Y, Z. And I'm going to give you kind of a simple example that most of us have been through. Have you ever been really, really, really in love with somebody? And you thought, oh, this is it. This is the end all be all. I will never feel like this for anybody ever again in my life. And then how does that feel? And then what happens if down the road you outgrow them, they outgrow you, and you separate? And then you go inside and you start questioning yourself, don't you? Anytime anything that happens to us, whether it's good or bad, what do? We go in and interpret it. And you can say, oh my God, that was the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life. And then what does that do to your vibration? Because you can feel negativity, can you not? Can everybody feel negativity? Can you feel it when you're next to somebody who's negative, 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 negative? Oh, absolutely. And you can feel positivity, right? So, positive is a higher vibration. It's a higher energy. So if you're letting something affect you negatively, change it. Because in every situation, there is positive that will come out of it. Every situation. We may not be able to see it. And sometimes it's pretty good that we don't see it. Believe it or not. But it's your job and how you interpret. Now, if you put your emotions with a thought, that makes it even stronger. Remember how I talked about when you were feeling in love, you just all giggly, and you got flowers, and you got cards, and you got little notes, and little texts and stuff. I love you, I'm thinking about you. And that makes you feel good. You can continue that feeling without the notes, without the flowers, without the texts. Because that's really who you are. You are pure love. You are pure spirit. That is who you are meant to be here. Do you think we were supposed to feel that negative and take it on ourselves? And then we feel like, what can I do? Just getting up. You know, the world is changing so rapidly and so quickly. I was talking to Spirit the other day, and I'm like, really? What's going on? You know, and one of my friends says to me, you know, nothing is going to be pre-COVID ever again. Ever again. It's never going to be pre-COVID. Because that incident shifted and changed everything in our world and beyond. It shifted and changed the energy. But it's up to you how you allow it to change it in your life. Because you can go around and go, oh, it'll never be the same at all. I got to tell you, we're not wearing masks, are we? So there has been some positive changes back. But your interpretation of how will I be affected is all up to you. You know, I joke with my patients, because I'm a home health care nurse, and I go in there and I take care of them, and they say, well, I just can't exercise. I'm like, really? Can you do your arms like this? And then they go, well, yeah. I'm like, okay, can you lift a leg? And they're like, well, yeah. I said, okay, so you really can exercise, right? Well, yeah, but I can't, but you can. No matter how little it is, you can still do it. Because there are people who can't, right? And all of a sudden, you'll see their minds click and go. And then the next time I go to see them, strangely enough, they're doing so much better, right? Because I just clicked that little switch to flip over to say, you can do it. You don't have to run around the block, but you can exercise. We are so helpful for other people. Do that for yourselves. Do it for you. You know thyself is such a powerful phrase. And we're all on a path of growing. Each one of us is growing. All different levels. And that's okay. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's why sometimes you need to talk to a friend and say, hey, what's your opinion on this? And they'll give you an opinion. You go, I never thought of it quite that way. And that opinion can shift you. And it can draw to you a higher vibration. Now, having said that, if you're around people who are always negative, well, that means, I cannot tell you how many times patients have told me, well, my cousin's sister's aunt went through the same surgery, and they still can't walk, and they still can't. And I'm like, really? Because I can show you 20 people who can. But what do? We take that in, we make it ours. And what does that do to your vibration? And you can feel it, I know you can feel it. So yes, you can lift yourself up, but you can lift others up too. Give somebody a smile. Hold a door open. When you hear things like this on the news, and you see these things going on in our society, go, thank you, God, that there is a purpose. Maybe the purpose, 911. How close did we all draw together after that? How much of a community and a society did we become after that? We will not let people do this to us. Remember that? It did serve a purpose. And the more we recognize that each and every one of us is all connected, I am connected to each one of you. Every one of you, because you're spirit. I'm spirit. That's what we are here. We just have this coat or jacket on. But when we look at each other and we say, how can I help? How can I serve you? Not only does that make you feel better, but it makes them feel better. How many times have you held the door open for somebody and it was like they just smiled? That happened to me today. I'm like, wow, I didn't take an act of God. I didn't have to go through Congress. I didn't have to have a raise. All I had to do was do something nice. Right? You can do that. You can be that person. Because it has never, ever been more needed in our society than it is right now. So when you see all those things happening, don't be like, oh God, poor Ukraine, poor those people. Oh, it's just awful. Send them love. Send them light. Send them peace and healing. Because the more of us that do that, instead of getting into that negative vibration, the more power we have to change. Yes, one person can change the vibration. It can be you. All you have to do is flip that little switch and Say, I can't see it, but I know that there is something good going to come out of this. I am going to choose to look for the good. Does that mean we don't have to have compassion? Not at all. I'm not saying that. Of course, when another fellow human being is hurt or injured or killed, we feel that, of course, because that's where we're connected. That's that energy, that's that vibration inside that connects us. And when you have empathy for them and say, how can I help you? What can I do? How can I serve you? Especially if it's somebody around you. You know, we all go through stuff. We're all going through stuff. There isn't a day when you don't have to deal with a problem, especially if you have children. And I mean children of all ages. But you have that opportunity. It is your choice. You can change it. So how are you affected? My question to you is, are you going to be the change? God bless you.